Meri Brown, a star of Sister Wives, has come to a poignant realization. He now recognizes that Robin is the primary source of division inside the household. Meri Brown, prominent figure of the widely debated reality series Sister Wives, has ultimately confronted the most poignant truth of his existence. Today, Meri unequivocally acknowledges that Robin is primarily responsible for the enduring familial discord, fractured connections, and erosion of trust. Once, this family was whole, cohesive, and replete with affection. Meri, Janelle, and Christine experienced harmonious coexistence. However, Meri asserts that Robin's arrival precipitated misunderstandings, disagreement, and a surge of profound upheaval. Having attained clarity, Meri then stepped forward to offer his apology. He acknowledged his error to Meri, Janelle, and Kington, and expressed his comprehension of how in the frigid and tranquil late fall air enveloped Flagstaff. Discolored leaves littered the driveway as Meri Brown remained still in his vehicle, gazing at the residence that previously embodied his aspirations, ambitions, and four spouses inside a singular, unusual familial framework. Several months have elapsed since he last communicated with Meri. Janelle scarcely responded to his messages, and Christine, who had relocated to Utah, had not returned any calls. Now, even Robin, his former favorite, was becoming estranged, engulfed by remorse and the fissures emerging around her pedestal of denial. Meri previously did not believe in signs. However, today, a change occurred. The events commenced when Kington, Janelle's son, dispatched a letter to him. Manuscript. Meri had not observed his son's handwriting for more than a year. "Father, I understand you perceive Robin as the victim. Have you ever considered maybe the rest of us were the collateral damage? We solely desired you. You devoted yourself entirely to her." The words struck Meri with the force of a freight train. He folded the letter, placed it in his jacket pocket, and proceeded directly to Janelle's residence. She opened the door hesitantly, with her arms crossed and her eyes weary. Behind her stood Kington, stoic and older than Meri recalled. "I apologize," Meri commenced. His voice faltered before he could articulate further. Janelle remained silent. She merely moved aside. That evening, Meri convened with Meri and Janelle over a backyard fire pit. Christine participated over video call, albeit with reluctance. "I believed I was maintaining our unity," he stated, the flames flickering over his tear-streaked visage. "However, I was selecting Robin. Repeatedly, I allowed her voice to surpass the volume of all of yours collectively." Christine's expression became tense on the television. "You did not merely select her. You obliterated us." Gradually, Meri averted his gaze. "I perceive it now. I perceive all that I was previously oblivious to." A prolonged hush ensued. Meri ultimately articulated, her voice nearly a murmur. "I awaited your recognition for years. I internally screamed each time you passed by me to approach her. Nevertheless, I remained. I remained because I was convinced we constituted a family."
Janelle acquiesced.
"We constructed this life collaboratively, Meri. You permitted her to revise the script." Meri's hands quivered. "Are you able to pardon me?" Kington emerged from the shadows. "Forgiveness is not merely a term, Father. It is activity." In the subsequent weeks, Meri commenced a transformation, not via ostentatious acts, but with modesty. He began attending Kington's job interview for moral support, Meri's small company events, and even Christine's daughter's birthday via Zoom, uninvited yet accepted. He momentarily vacated Robin's residence, opting for solitude to engage in introspection. He openly discussed the rift during a family meeting recorded by TLC cameras. "I allowed love to transform into favoritism. I allowed a singular voice to overshadow our collective harmony. I shall no longer defend it." Robin, commendably, also wept. She refrained from articulating a defense. For once, she merely listened. The recovery was not instantaneous. Trust, once fractured, is reconstructed incrementally. However, there was a discernible difference. One morning, Meri arrived at Meri's doorstep with coffee. I harbor no expectations, he stated. I simply wish to share another morning, as we previously did. Meri regarded him with a cautious yet gentle demeanor. One morning, she remarked, grasping the coffee. A glimmer of the past re-emerged. Acquainted, delicate, authentic. The Brown family may never return to their previous state. However, it is conceivable that a future grounded in truth, at last, holds greater value than the previously perceived illusion of unity. On this occasion, they opted to meet one another. What about Cody? He was ultimately grasping the essence of being a husband to many while maintaining his integrity to each individual. Nonetheless, the Arizona sun had just started to descend below the horizon, illuminating the desert with a golden hue as Janelle Brown fastened the final zipper of her bags. The decision to go to Apple Valley, AV, was challenging, however she instinctively believed it was the correct one. Following months of introspective contemplation, fiscal strategizing, and profound discussions with her adult offspring, she was ultimately embarking on a courageous endeavor, beginning anew in a locale where she could genuinely restore her autonomy. What astonished her the most was not the relocation itself, but the response she garnered from the other women. Cody was, naturally, the last to come at the family meeting organized by Janelle. Christine, Meri, and Robin were already positioned in the backyard beneath shimmering string lights, each consuming iced tea. Notwithstanding their previous disputes, an unusual tranquility enveloped them this evening. I understand this is unforeseen, Janelle commenced, holding a folder filled with real estate documents, but I am relocating to Apple Valley next week. I discovered a modest house there. It is unremarkable, yet it belongs to me. I require this. Christine immediately grinned. Janelle, I anticipated an impending event. You have recently exhibited a radiant demeanor, analogous to a woman asserting her independence. Janelle laughed softly. This is due to my identity. Robin appeared apprehensive yet deferential. Will it endure indefinitely? In other words, are you departing from the family? Janelle acquiesced with a slight nod. Not the family. However, I am prioritizing myself for the first time in an extended period. To Janelle's astonishment, Meri was the first to rise and approach her. You know, Meri remarked, grasping Janelle's hand. Years ago, when I commenced reconstructing my life after the fissures in my relationship with Cody became insurmountable, I lacked this type of assistance. I regret not having done so. If you require assistance, whether it is with relocation or temporary accommodation during your transition, I am available to help. Janelle's eyes filled with tears.
Thank you, Meri.
That signifies everything. Christine subsequently entered. Let us embark on a road trip exclusively for women. We will assist you with your relocation. I will operate the U-Haul, she remarked with a wink. Even Robin, nonetheless her intricate relationship with Janelle and her protective disposition towards Cody, acquiesced. If this provides you with tranquility, I will endorse it. Although we may not consistently concur, I hold your fortitude in high regard. Cody remained motionless for a minute, arms crossed, gazing at the setting sun. Ultimately, he exhaled audibly. I believed we would ultimately resolve our issues. However, I perceive that this is not about evasion. It is about transformation. I wish you well in your search, Janelle. 2 weeks later, the women assembled in a convoy of vehicles, Christine in her SUV, Meri in a rented van, and Robin contributing handmade sandwiches for the journey. The voyage to Apple Valley evolved into more than a mere relocation. It transformed into a process of healing. On the final day, as Janelle stood before her new modest residence, a white stucco bungalow adorned with a little cactus garden, she experienced an emotion she had not felt in years. Tranquility. The other women gathered behind her on the porch, laughing at the journey, the little packing mishaps, and their aspirations for the future. I am uncertain about what the future entails, Janelle stated, her tone unwavering. However, I am aware that I am not solitary. That exceeds my expectations. Christine elevated her glass of sparkling cider. To fresh starts. Meri exhibited a smile. To sisterhood. Robin gently remarked. To strength. The sun descended over Apple Valley, and for the first time in an extended period, the sister wives were not merely enduring, they were fostering, reconstructing, and embracing love in an unprecedented manner. Nevertheless, the evening in Flagstaff, Arizona, was warm and summery. The sky transformed into a vivid orange and violet as the sun descended behind the mountains. At the refined Sunset Ridge estate, laughter, music, and the gentle clinking of glasses permeated the atmosphere. What is the occasion? A charity banquet promoting women's education, featuring numerous recognizable individuals from the Sister Wives group. Cody Brown entered the ballroom attired in a bespoke suit, his characteristic curly hair meticulously styled. Accompanying him were his three present wives, Robin, Janelle, and Meri. Although life had become more tranquil following the previous upheavals, underlying tensions persisted. The trio arrived to support Cody, presenting a united front, while each harbored individual thoughts and doubts. Janelle, pragmatic and composed, maintained a neutral expression. Meri, remote yet poised, stood upright with her timeless elegance. Robin, consistently vigilant over her connection with Cody, remained near him. The party was already in full flow when an unforeseen moment occurred. Christine entered the room, luminous, self-sufficient, and assured. She had not encountered Cody in almost a year. Their parting was excruciating, public, and rife with past grievances. However, this evening, Christine was absent to instigate a disturbance. She received an invitation from a friend and was unaware that Cody and his wives would be in attendance. As her golden gown glimmered beneath the lights, murmurs spread rapidly. Is that Christine? Cody's former spouse? She appears remarkable. I am curious about the forthcoming events. Christine observed them quite instantaneously. Cody and his three spouses became immobile. For an instant, it seemed as though time had ceased to progress. Unexpectedly, Christine smiled and gestured courteously. Cody paused momentarily before approaching. Christine, he remarked with a sigh, I did not anticipate encountering you here. I was equally unprepared to encounter you, she remarked composedly. However, we find ourselves here. A momentary, uncomfortable hiatus ensued, but it was fleeting. Christine proffered her hand. Let us avoid any awkwardness. We are adults. Cody grasped her hand, uncertain whether to experience relief or astonishment. Robin, Janelle, and Meri gradually approached, each displaying distinct looks. Robin's gaze intensified. Meri arched an eyebrow. Janelle appeared entertained. Christine acknowledged each of them with courtesy, although her interaction with Robin consisted just of a brief nod. I have been performing exceptionally well, Christine stated. Initiated an online culinary channel. Engaging in travel activities. Encountered an agreeable individual, no commitment involved. Cody blinked. Have you encountered someone? The impact was more severe than he anticipated. Robin inclined forward. It is reassuring to observe that you have progressed. Christine smiled warmly, but remained silent. Instead, she directed her attention on Janelle. Are you still engaged in that solar power project? Christine inquired. Janelle illuminated. Affirmative. We ought to reconnect. The moment transformed. The past grievances, although not erased, did not overshadow the evening. Shortly thereafter, Christine engaged with other attendees. Janelle withdrew to procure beverages, while Robin remained closely attached to Cody, evidently unsettled. Later that evening, while Christine stood alone on the balcony observing the sky, Cody approached silently. Christine, do you ever experience remorse? She gazed at him gently. Occasionally. However, predominantly no. We previously shared affection, but now I possess tranquility. Cody exhaled audibly. You have undergone a transformation. More robust. It was necessary for me to be, she stated. You provided me with limited options. Subsequently, with a serene smile, she remarked, however, thank you, Cody, for instructing me on how to prioritize myself. With that, she departed, liberated, luminous, and impervious. The celebration continued within the ballroom. However, for Cody, the evening had altered something. For the first time, he was uncertain whether he had triumphed or forfeited something irreplaceable. Nonetheless, on a luminous spring morning in Flagstaff, Michael T. Padron stood amidst her recently leased studio, encircled by rolls of vivid fabrics, mannequins, and partially rendered designs. Her aspiration was finally materializing. After years of being recognized merely as one of the daughters from the Brown family on Sister Wives, Michael T. was prepared to assume her own prominence as a fashion designer. For years, fashion had been her discreet passion. She would draw during protracted family meetings, peruse Pinterest for inspiration while supervising her siblings, and fantasize about a runway where her creations would ultimately be showcased. As a daughter of a substantial polygamous household, her aspirations were frequently eclipsed by the emotional turmoil of plural marriage, constant relocations, and intricate relationships. Now married and a mother, Michael T. saw the necessity of establishing her own legacy. The inception was a basic infant sling. Following the birth of her twins, Archer and Ava, Michael T. became exasperated by the monotony and discomfort of typical baby carriers. She crafted her own using soft cotton, vibrant flower motifs, and a contemporary touch. At a Sister Wives family reunion, even Robin, a previous jewelry business owner, was astonished when she wore it. "Did you create that?" Robin inquired, genuinely astonished. "Affirmative," Michael T. replied with a smile. "I have been developing several designs. Dresses, shirts, and various coordinated ensembles for mothers and infants." Christine's mother immediately radiated with pride. "You must undertake this, Michael T. Do not let your aspiration to remain unpursued any longer." With Christine's support and financial assistance from her stepsister Maddie's online boutique connections, Michael T. established her brand, Bold Thread by Michael T. The collection was boldly expressive, vibrant, fluid clothing influenced by Southwestern materials, tribal motifs, and bohemian aesthetics. However, success was not easily attained. Cody, her progenitor, persisted in his skepticism. "A clothing collection?" He spoke in his customary semi-supportive manner. "You have 2 infants at home, and Tony is still seeking employment. Is this truly the appropriate moment?" Michael T.'s jaw tightened. "The moment has arrived. I refuse to wait for perfection. I am managing to get it functional." Meri, always aloof from her younger siblings, visited to provide counsel based on her bed and breakfast branding expertise. "You possess vision, Michael T. Do not allow the distractions from this household to impede your concentration." Months later, Michael T. secured a minor position at a local fashion event in Flagstaff. Although it was neither New York nor Los Angeles, it marked her runway debut. Christine arrived early to assist with the twins. Janelle brought her camera for photographs, and Robin accompanied Aurora to offer support. Meri astonished everyone by appearing in one of Michael T.'s handcrafted coats. As the lights dimmed and the music commenced, Michael T. stood backstage, her heart racing. Models paraded down the runway showcasing her designs, vivid patterns, sustainable fabrics, and garments that embraced curves and comfort. A standing ovation occurred at the conclusion. Upon Michael T.'s emergence to take her bow, she was profoundly affected by emotion. She had transcended her role as merely a daughter. She was not merely the offspring of a sister wife. She was Michael T. Padron, a designer, visionary, executor. That evening, the Brown family convened at her studio for a celebration. Cody acknowledged, "I did not recognize it previously, but this is remarkable. You possess genuine talent." Christine radiated joy, her eyes glistening. "I have always been aware." "What about Tony?" He merely kissed her hand and murmured, "I informed you. You were destined to create." Amidst a family characterized by intricate relationships, past grievances, and convoluted histories, Michael T. meticulously crafted a new identity, one stitch at a time. This was merely the inception. Michael T. later stated in an interview, "Fashion transcends mere clothing. It pertains to narrating the tale you were never able to vocalize. I possess numerous narratives to share. Nevertheless, In early 2020, reports of an unusual new virus started dominating the headlines. Initially, the Brown family regarded it with indifference. Residing in Flagstaff, Arizona, they prioritized daily challenges, managing numerous residences, school commutes, and maintaining familial relationships. However, the planet underwent a transformation. Upon the declaration of COVID-19 as a global pandemic, all activities ceased. Educational institutions closed, retail establishments were depleted, and an atmosphere of uncertainty enveloped all like a dense fog. For a multiple family such as the Browns, circumstances were poised to become exceedingly complex. Cody convened an urgent family Zoom meeting. His four spouses, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robin, each accessed the platform from their respective residences. A strategy is required, Cody stated. This virus disseminates rapidly. If one household becomes infected, it may impact us all. Janelle, ever pragmatic, remarked, "We cannot feign that we are a singular nuclear family. We constitute four distinct households, which amplifies the risk fourfold." Christine declined with a shake of her head. "I wish to avoid isolation from others. We are a family. If we sever communication, what will become of the children's relationships with one another?" Robin, the most prudent, spoke quietly. "I propose that we remain in our respective residences, avoiding visits and interactions, until we gain a clearer understanding of the virus." That evening, the choice divided the family. Cody, in an effort to appease everyone, ultimately devoted most of his time to Robin's residence, as she enforced the most stringent standards. This, undoubtedly, did not escape attention. Weeks transformed into months. The Brown siblings, previously inseparable, could now only connect via video conversations. Janelle's sons profoundly missed their siblings. Christine's daughter, Truly, wept nightly, inquiring when she could reunite with her father. Meri, already emotionally detached from Cody, now seldom communicated with him. The solitude infiltrated gradually, then abruptly. She started dedicating additional time to solitary hiking, journaling, and contemplating the significance of family. Concurrently, Robin experienced an overwhelming sensation. Cody's constant presence at her home strained their connection as well. The romantic notion of quarantine companionship swiftly transformed into disputes and cabin fever. "I did not request any of this," Robin said one evening. "My sole intention was to safeguard our children." In the autumn of 2020, the family opted to host a socially distanced outdoor celebration for Isabel's birthday. This was the first occasion they had all encountered one another in person in some months. They donned masks, maintained a distance of 6 feet between chairs, and refrained from embracing, but it nevertheless exuded an aura of enchantment.
Humor reemerged.
Games were conducted. Emotions were expressed through tears. Following the party, Christine informed the video team, "That singular moment reminded me of our purpose." Rationale for selecting this familial configuration. "Despite the most challenging circumstances, we consistently returned to one another." In 2021, immunizations were accessible. Nevertheless, not all family members concurred on receiving them. Janelle and Christine promptly arranged their meetings, although Robin exhibited reluctance. She desired to postpone and examine additional data. Cody, once again stuck in the midst, commenced a dispute with everyone. "I am being pulled in various directions," he stated. "I cannot compel anyone to act against their will. However, I am fatigued from assuming the role of arbiter." Ultimately, they all arrived at a consensus. Individuals wishing to visit other residences were required to be vaccinated or present a negative test result. It was not flawless, yet it was substantial. By mid-2022, life gradually resumed its normalcy. The Browns had endured a challenge greater than they had anticipated. They had contended, wept, and succumbed, yet they had also acquired knowledge. Christine recognized that separation facilitated her discovery of independence. Janelle discovered her strength and self-sufficiency. Meri found tranquility in isolation. Robin, despite her fatigue, felt a sense of pride in her diligent efforts to safeguard her family. What about Cody? He discovered that leadership is not about exerting control, rather, it is about active listening. The family gathered around a large table in the backyard one summer evening, engaging in laughter, sharing dishes, and conversing. It was the inaugural occasion in almost 2 years that they had all dined together, without limitations. Meri elevated her glass. To enduring an unforeseen circumstance. Christine beamed, continuing to support one another. The glasses collided. The stars emerged. In that instant, they transcended mere plurality. They embodied a formidable family.